I have been humbled. Aston Villa played Everton last night at Villa Park, and we have lost them 0-1. And yeah, I'm saying I'm humbled because when I was making the preview video, I was so full of myself. I know I was so full of myself. I was usually to prepare for these because I'm a new content creator. I watch a lot of other creators and their previews, and then I make my notes, and that's how I prepare my script for these videos. And I know that every Aston Villa creator was extremely confident about us winning last night. In fact, I kept saying that that's what I'm expecting and that's how it'll turn out. And if it doesn't turn out like that, that is out of ordinary what will happen. So, with this confidence, I started watching last night's match, and I know I was in my research. I also found out that Everton is an extremely tough team to score against as well, and I could see it. Finally, I could see it visually happen. Like, I think sometimes I'm so blinded with my love for my club that I don't see obvious things. That it has been a while since we've had some injuries. Everybody knows we have a thin squad, and yesterday when I saw it happen in front of me, like how our squad was left so thin that none of the substitutes were inspiring whenever they came in the game. It got very tough to watch the match. So yeah, I am here with my fangirls match report in my own style with my own special four segments. So let's begin. My first segment is called I Screamed When. Now, there were a lot of screams that came to me last evening, and none of them were screams of happiness, man. There were so many chances that we have missed yesterday. So many times, Rogers, Gusand, Watkins, they have had the ball. You knew that if they strike it rightly inside the goalpost, it will convert into a goal, and yet none of those shots got converted. I have to give credit to Everton also because their defense was extremely strong. The goalkeeper is great, and it got a bit irritating because my partner came in late in night. He went to play football, and by the time he came, he was watching us play, and he's like, "Oh, you guys are doing so well. You're dominating. You have the possession." So many times we're going inside the D, and I just looked at him frustrated. I was like, "This has been going on since the entire evening." And I'm now tired of getting excited also because we would take it to their D, and then not convert it into a goal, and it got so frustrating. But like initially, the few times Rogers had that ball or Gusan had that ball, I was extremely excited. So I screamed in happiness. But none of those shots got converted. Oh my god, I still can't believe it that I have been so wrong about this match. I thought we will get a clean sheet and then we will be scoring so many goals. It was terrible. It was terrible. Nothing to celebrate from yesterday's match. Genuinely, like nothing to celebrate. My second segment is called I had to Google this. Now, this is something that I Googled during the match. Around the 60th minute, when we usually have our substitutes come in, and a striker usually comes and replaces Watkins and pumps in some insane energy into our form. Yesterday we had no one because Marlin's gone to has been loaned out to Roma, and we have not yet signed a second striker. And this is the first match we had to play in the middle of all of this. And then the commentator informed us while this match was going that today Marlin makes a debut in Roma. And then I was like, okay. And then I Google that how's that match going. It kind of coincided with the Aston Villa match, and oh God, it was like somebody putting salt on my wounds because Marlin had scored his debut goal. Roma eventually won 2-0, but till the for half time, it was his goal at the 28th minute. So Marlin's gone and scored in another team, and here I can see my team struggling so badly. I think like 10 minutes into the game, Megan got injured, and I've been like a really hopeful person. In all my videos, I've been talking about how I really believe in this squad and I really believe in Unai Emery because no matter how many injuries we're facing, we've had no great transfers, and yet our team, whatever we have, steps up and makes do with whatever little resources we have. But now the injuries are getting to me, man. Like Kamara is injured, Onana is injured. Last night, McGinn was injured so early into the game, and now we have like Europa also. Like the matches are going to coincide. We're going to have multiple matches in a week, and I see this squad struggling. It is so thin. It is so thin. Yesterday they had to bring in like an academy player in their substitution. So yeah, I'm very disappointed. And just seeing Marlon score in another club was, what is the reverse of cherry on the cake or something, like whatever it was the last nail in my coffin. I'm very happy for him. He deserves all the good things in the world because he's been so great for us. And it makes me also wonder that I don't know, we had the same thing with John Duran, and now we're having the same problem, that why aren't we giving our second strikers the attention that they need? It's been 2 years now, man. 2 years of Watkins in a dipped form. Like he'll show some spark here and there, but we need, I mean, no second striker is going to stay in this club, yeah. No, because if you don't let them start matches, you don't give them the time that they want. Even if they're really in love with the club, really in love with Unai Emery, they don't want to waste their precious years on being the second striker, right? So I think they're not able to manage the egos, and be like, Unai Emery seems to be too much in love with Watkins, because of which we've like lost two very good strikers, very good strikers. And now I don't know, transfer news, I keep following it. Usually, Villa is very secretive about their signings, and we there was some buzz and news, and then though that player went to Tottenham, so I don't even want to talk about it. But now there are talks about Tammy Abraham coming in. I don't know his potential. Like my partner, who's a Chelsea fan, is warning me against him and all of that. But like we need a striker at this point of time. We need some signings. So yeah, let's hope for the best. Next time when I'm making a video, I hope I have some updates to give you. My third segment is called This Gave Me Hope. Now, this is a moment which has got nothing to do with the game, because yesterday our performance seemed quite hopeless. So yeah, I'm not going to talk about any of the moments that happened on the field, but yeah, I'm going to talk about Jack Grealish, because how can I not make a video about Aston Villa versus Everton and not talk about my favorite Jack Grealish? Now, it is, I always look forward to our matches with Everton ever since he's gone there, because I feel like I'm always like looking for some hidden thing that's happening in his head, and how is he feeling to be back at Villa Park now. Those of you who don't know, Jack Grealish is our academy boy. He was extremely adored while he was in our team. He was in the championship squad, and then we qualified for English Premier League, and everybody knows the story of how he wore the same boots, those same disheveled torn apart boots that he wore in championship, because I think he thought it was his lucky charm or something. So he wore the same boots when we came to EPL. What a loved player. And then he gets sold to Manchester City. Now one can feel multiple things about it, but it really worked in the favor of our club, because the kind of money he brought in for the club has is one of those things that has sustained us for so long. So no, I would like to say that no bad blood there. Then he had a nice spell in Man City, and then he actually not a nice spell in Man City. He didn't get the same opportunities, and I think Pep was not the greatest coach for him to really see his full potential. He was so good in Aston Villa, and then he's been loaned to Everton. Ever since he's gone to Everton, there has been back of like there are some sparks that remind you of the Jack Grealish from Aston Villa. And I to come from a very biased place. I have a crush on him. I find him so adorable. It is to a level where it is distracting. Like yesterday, this one has gotten injured. Megan has gotten injured, and Jack Grealish is just bent over him, because I think they're very good friends. So he's just Jack Grealish is checking on Megan while the physiotherapist is working on his feet, on his legs. And all I can, like, I should be worried about McGinn, which I am. I am really worried about McGinn's injury, but all I could look at was those calf muscles. I have taken photos of that. Oh my God, look at those calf muscles. What are they? So, anyway, so this is to give you context of how much love I have for this man. And yesterday there was a video, like some people had shared on Aston Villa fan pages, where he has come and he's meeting all the staff members. Like we get to see his friendship with the players, of course, like online also, whatever they write for each other and everything. But to for him to see and meet the staff, he was hugging everyone. I'm sure everybody at Villa Park knows him so well. So all the background staff was so happy to have him back at Villa Park, and there were a lot of hugs shared. Those moments are quite beautiful. So yeah, that gave me a lot of hope that beyond all this animosity and whatever, like the toxicity of fandom and football and all, there are these beautiful moments that can exist. So yeah, that gave me hope. My last and fourth segment is called I'll have to talk to my therapist about this. Now, this is a very strange one. I think already, by the time I woke up, already multiple videos were made on it. Sky Sports journalists are talking about it. Everybody's talking about how bizarre that post match interview with Unai Emery was. I have my own theory. I think he's damn pissed, man. He's damn pissed because he's trying to keep his calm. we I would keep saying that he makes the best with what he's given, but I think his patience is also running thin now, because we were, I don't know whose decision it was to sell off Marlon without getting a second striker in place, and he seems pissed with that. He seems frustrated with the situation, with the multiple injuries that he has to deal with. So I think that was a message for the owners. I know it comes at a very bad time, because we've seen a pattern of how somebody gets the manager of the month and then they have this outburst in press and then they get sacked. Though Unai is very, very far away from getting sacked. He's like our hero, our legend. But I do see his frustration and I feel so bad for him, because he's otherwise such a calm and composed person. The last time he lost his shit was when he repeated Bizot's name like 5 times, Bizot, Bizot, Bizot. Because I think he was very frustrated with the whole Martinez transfer thing. And that same frustration I saw in him yesterday. Or the second bit that it can be is to like really, like, he said it to rile up his team, rile up every player, because maybe they got a bit complacent. Maybe things have gotten, the multiple wins have gotten to their head. In every press conference, Unai Emery takes nobody for granted. He always talks about humility, and he always talks about respecting the team that he was facing. He was the only one who in the press conference who spoke about how Everton is going to be a tough match, when everybody else thought it was going to be an easy breezy ride, which it wasn't. So yeah, I think the things that he said in that in that interview post the match, one was to like bring some attention to how thin the squad is and they need immediately some very important signings, and the second one was to rile up the players so that they can buck up, because we do have easy fixtures lined up. I was thinking that we have no tough fixtures, man. We've played as Arsenal twice and now all of it is going to be like easy breezy for us. But it's a wake up call. It's a wake up call for me. It is humbling for me to not get too overconfident about where we're going to stand by the end of the season. So yeah, that's what I'm going to talk to my therapist about. Any which way, our next match is a Europa match. We're going to be playing Fibonacci, and I have just found out that John Duran, who is now there in that club, he's been loaned out from Saudi, and he had a red card situation where he had a 3-match ban or a 2-match ban, I've forgotten. But now the club requested and they figured out that that will not apply to the match that he's going to play against Aston Villa. So we are without Marlon and we're going to face John Duran, who was once ours. I'm very excited to know how that will turn out. Europa is very, very important for us for that Champions League position, and Unai Emery is a master of it. So let's see what he does with the current squad. I'm looking forward to that match. Till then, up the Villa.